Hello guys and welcome to my channel Kuselo Achoa, and today I have a special mate of mine, Ashe from
What's up, guys?
South Africa.
That's right.
And yeah, today we thought that we'd do something, and yeah. Ashe, can you start off just by telling the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
And what
So
are we
what's
doing
up?
here today?
Yeah, no worries at all. So what's up, guys? My name is Ashe. I'm from East London in South Africa, and I've been living out in Vietnam for almost 10 years now. Yeah, it's been a journey. I started off doing, well, multiple different things when I got out here, from scuba diving to chefing to motorbike tours and pretty much anything that I could just to have a good time, you know? So yeah.
And yeah, today guys, we're currently at Fork'n Lekker. Fork'n Lekker is a restaurant establishment started by this man here, and
yeah.
is a partner, and it's based in Trang. And can you give the viewers just an idea of this establishment, this restaurant, Fork'n
Sure.
Lekker? What products exactly, or what services does it provide, and
For sure.
those types of things?
Cool.
Give
So
us an idea of that.
when we decided to do the restaurant, I mean, I have quite an extensive background in cooking, and it is something I've always wanted to do out here. I've had one or two smaller projects, but Fork'n Lekker was the brainchild of myself and my wife Caitlin, and we decided that we wanted to offer some South African food to the people of Nha Trang. So it's a little bit difficult to introduce it, but slowly but surely we are getting there. And yeah, the main concept of our place is basically for South Africans in Vietnam to experience home away from home.
Yeah.
So when you walk into the garden, the sensation that you should get is that you basically just gone to your mate's house for a bra, a chop and dop, basically something like that, you know what I mean? That's the whole vibe that we're trying to create out here. So what you can expect when you come to this place is friendly service. We hope good food. We seem to have a reputation for our hamburgers. So yeah, you know, the guys like to have a game of pool, enjoy the garden, and yeah, just enjoy everything that we have to offer here, you know? I mean, it's just like I said, just to basically give fellow South Africans a place to come and enjoy. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. And what food and beverages, what South African products can people expect
So this,
when they come to
yeah,
this
this was
establishment?
the challenge, right? Because how do you define what is South African food?
Very good.
Back
Yeah,
home
very
in South
true,
Africa,
very
we
true.
eat international food. Really, I think what we are known for is braai. This is our kind of staple. But in Vietnam, it's very difficult to bring that concept across because they have so many barbecue houses doing a very similar concept.
Exactly.
So the challenge was to try and introduce unique food from South Africa, but we had to do it really slowly.
Of course.
So first of all, starting up with things like hamburgers and pizzas, things that people are familiar with and understand. And once they started to trust me and my cooking and the food that we serve, they then decided to try and be more adventurous. So I managed to find a chap helping me with Boerewors and biltong. This was one of our very first steps in creating a more of a South African vibe here, you know. So it's been a bit challenging, but as the years have gone on, there's more South Africans, which I'm sure you'll see in some of your videos, that have now become a big role in businesses like this, actually becoming more authentically South African. So we have been getting more products in to make it feel just that more like home, right? So some black labels, some Savannahs, Boerewors. We like to do our big bra days at least once a week, just to keep the feeling of home alive, you know?
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic stuff.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I'd just like to touch on that part, the Boerewors and the South African beverages. The Boerewors, if I remember correctly, you make it yourself?
No, I don't make
Or
that
how do you-
myself. I actually get that from Marius. Marius is the gentleman living out in Da Nang, South African butcher that has been, well, he's probably been in Vietnam for at least 4 to 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Marius, maybe longer, I'm sorry. I don't really know. But Marius reached out to me and he just basically explained himself that he was a South African butcher and this is what he can offer. So we went back and forth until we had the product that I was happy with for my restaurant. Because obviously each establishment has its own individual touch, what is needed. So Marius was kind enough to help out with everything that we needed regarding the Boerewors, the flavor, the texture, even down to the casing. You know, there's no artificial casings used. It's done like we would do back home.
Fantastic.
So trying to keep it again as authentic as possible, you know.
And this this craft, the way that he does it, he kind of like he also has experience making Boerewors back at home.
Correct. Yeah.
I see.
So from what I understand, he has some knowledge with meat back home, and out here he was able to then create his own butchery style. And I suppose once he started to source the products more locally and the things that we would use, it became slightly easier for him to then make this product as well.
Fantastic
Yeah.
stuff. Fantastic stuff. And related to now the South African beverages, do you self-import them somehow, or do you?
So that I've been very fortunate with, because in the beginning that was really a struggle for us.
Fantastic.
We used to get Savannahs out of the Forkn stock Russian shops. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry, but they actually had Savannahs on shelf, and this was fantastic. And then all of a sudden that dried out. So the next thing we moved on to was Amstel Lager. Because Amstel Lager we drink back home once in a while. So again, trying to stay as South African as possible, I jumped onto the Amstel, and this lasted about 1 month and they discontinued this product. So for the first year and a half I actually struggled a lot to get anything South African beverage related into the cafe, except for the things we would make in-house, like milk tart shots and things like that. And then I met up with a French guy that happened to work for a huge company in Vietnam importing and exporting wines, and next thing I know, we now stock 13 varieties of South African wines, from sparkling to red, rosés and whites, everything in the fridge and chilled. And then Matthew from Wazenamfi has come through in the last few months, and he's also been a great help. You know, he's actually helped us with the black labels, he's helped us with the Savannah product as well. Marius, once again, he helped me out with some KWV brandy. So these products are slowly making their way through to Vietnam. Just they're still a bit expensive. So if you want a little taste of home out here, it's going to cost a little bit more, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course, the import cost and all of that.
Of course.
Related to the customers that you have coming in to the garden, what is the current let's say distribution, so to say?
Sure. This is definitely a two-part question.
No.
Because when we have, say, a busy period like Tet or any sort of holiday, school holiday, anything like that, most of our clientele, 95% in fact, will be South African. They obviously hear about us through word of mouth, and they will come from all over Hanoi, Da Nang, Saigon, surrounding areas to come and enjoy. So yeah, like I was saying, two-part question, like, because when it's Tet or a public holiday or something, we have a lot more South Africans coming through. But during the periods of normal stay, when there's not too many tourism, we will have a lot of the expats in town. And the expats, of course, are mixed nationalities. Some being Australian, English, Indian, Koreans, Chinese, Russians, Ukrainians. You know, there's a whole variety coming through. So it just definitely depends on what's going on at the time. But we suspect that when tourism comes back, it should be a fair 50-50, I would say. 50% South African tourism and say 50% internationals.
Related to the reviews now of the clientele coming in here, other than the South Africans who would be, of course, happy with the service and just having a taste of home. Well, no, I assume they must be. They must be, because I've had the stuff here and I'm very happy with the stuff here. But related to people who are not South African, what type of reviews have you been getting on the items that you've been
A lot
serving?
of mixed reviews, actually.
Interesting.
And mostly on the slub chips, because I feel like a lot of people understand slub chips or French fries to be thin and crispy, McDonald's style, or something like that. And being South African, slub chips is quite a big thing for us. Right, so salt and vinegar, not necessarily on the crunchy side. So the reviews on the chips have definitely been a 50-50, but I would say mostly positive, regardless of one or two things that they're not familiar with, you know. But at the end of the day, in this game, you can't please everybody.
Yes, of course. Of course.
You'll run yourself into the ground trying to please everybody. So I think as long as your product is consistent, people will be happy, and your reviews will be consistently good, I suppose. Right. Except for, you know, the ones you can't please all the time.
Of course. And then related to the dishes now that you that are served here, which ones are most popular amongst, let's start off with the South Africans. Which ones are most popular amongst the South Africans?
Well, amongst the South Africans, it's definitely going to be more on the bar snacks, right? The biltongs and the beers. When we have these locally sourced products, South African guys are going really crazy over this.
Of course.
But generally speaking, it's definitely the hamburgers. The most popular hamburger is the cheddar melt burger, which the sauce is made in-house by myself, and the beef bacon and cheeseburger as well. This seems to be the two most popular hamburgers that we have, and it doesn't matter if you're South African, Korean, or it doesn't matter. If you like good food, these are the ones that are gonna definitely sort you out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then now. The people who are not South African, do they also like the same?
They do, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people understand hamburgers. A lot of people understand pizza. I think so. In order to gain their trust, like I was saying earlier, you introduce things that are quite familiar, but you put your own spin on it. You know, so it's easy to get a beef burger in this town, but will you get another beef cheddar melt burger like mine in this town? Probably not. So everybody has their own take on it. So yeah, I think that's pretty fair there.
Yeah. It's definitely a fair answer, and I mean, you know, of course, as you were saying, you know, you can't satisfy everyone, and you need to also have your own craft that like separates your product
your
from everyone
identity
else,
to
your
your
identity
business. Yeah,
to your
very
business,
important.
right? And
very important. Like, because I said to you earlier, this is international food that we are doing right now. South African food will come more to play maybe when we have a bigger restaurant one day, or we have more tourism to support that need. But at the end of the day, hamburgers and pizzas is an international language known all around the world. The only thing that we can do to make it our hamburger and our own identity is create unique and new flavors and things that you can only find in the South African restaurant.
Now, related to the business, what are the biggest challenges that you faced as a foreign entrepreneur, specifically in Vietnam, trying to establish an establishment like this?
The biggest challenge I faced was knowledge, because you think you know, but you don't really know, and then you understand that you start to realize, you start to, what word I'm looking for here, rely on other people's help consistently, because they will say to you, oh, you may need to do this or you may need to do that, and you don't really know. That's why you've gone to these people. So I found that this was the biggest challenge, just actually understanding how everything worked and why the process was a certain way. Because that's very different from back home. You know, back home you can speak the language and you can go to the department and you can get your answers out. Here you have to really rely on certain people for their help or for their language skills, and then hopefully that they're not putting a little something extra on top for themselves. So I would definitely say that knowledge was one of the hardest. Obviously financials, you know, it's very difficult to open up a business license in this country as a foreigner. You have to have a Vietnamese partner on paper. As far as the profit margins goes, this is something that you will have to discuss privately. And then once you have your business, your Vietnamese business paperwork sorted out, you can then come on as a foreign investor, which is not a cheap operation. You know, you have to actually lay out a few $1,000s for this, and
wow, $1,000?
No, a few thousand, not 8,000, a few $1,000s.
Wow.
So it's not as easy as you think, like, oh, I'll just come to Vietnam and I will quickly open up a business. If you have a lot of money, yes, you can do that. But if you did it the way I did it, you have to do everything step by step, you know. So once I had gotten my Vietnamese partner, I then made sure I had enough money to get me onto the business license as an investor with my residency and all of that sort of thing sorted out. Once I had that under control, then I started shopping for premises, and then I started to build the business itself. I wasn't able to just say, okay, yes, $20,000, I'm going to just do this. You know, everything I did, I had to do stage by stage, and it took me a little bit to get it set up, but ultimately, here we are now with this little restaurant. But
that sounds like a process. Like it's got, you know.
Oh, for sure.
It's really involved. I thought maybe it was. I thought it was maybe less involved than what you've just described, but it seems like I don't have an establishment like this, but it seems like there's a lot to think about when you actually want to start something like this.
You come into an idea like this, and to put it into action, you don't realize what it entails until you get the ball rolling. Once you're going through everything, you understand, okay, I need to take care of this and I need to take care of that, and it pretty much doesn't end, you know. Like, opening the business is one thing, but then running and maintaining the business at a certain standard is a completely different ball game, especially in times where, you know, everyone has taken a hit due to COVID times. You still want to keep your standards, you still want to keep everything where it should be.
Yes, of course.
But it can be a struggle, you know. So that's one of the difficult things.
And I assume this partner that you have in business, the Vietnamese partner I'm referring to, is someone that you've known for a while?
Yeah, I've known her for a very long time. Her and her husband, we're very good friends. And it basically just came up over coffee. I had this idea to open this business. I found out what I needed to do. And I was sitting with her, and I was like, oh, do you want to be my business partner? I just need you to sign. She's like, if I don't have to do anything, I'm quite happy to be your business partner. And that was that. So she's literally just my business partner on paper, silent partner. As far as involvement goes in the company, none whatsoever. I need her help once in a while for some signatures, maybe something for the tax department, maybe putting Wi-Fi in the building or something like that. Because even though this is my business, as a foreigner, I can't just go and get Wi-Fi put into the building. It has to be done through the Vietnamese side of the business. So yeah, so once again, learning, knowledge, understanding the process of simple things like just putting craft beer or tap beer in the shop, putting Wi-Fi in, putting this in. It's actually a process, you know.
Incredible, incredible stuff. And what's very interesting, at least from my perspective, just hearing you talk about the fact that it's a learning process and it's got all these steps, and you're talking about this being a learning process, but you've been in Vietnam almost a decade, about a decade, right?
Yeah, one of the longest South Africans out here for sure.
Like, and you still, like, you had a big, like, learning curve that you had to go through, given all of the people, the Vietnamese people that you might already know, but now you start a business and you have all of these hoops that you need to jump
because what I knew before business was, well, just living out here, you know, having a good time. So you learn a certain way of life and you understand a certain way of life. But when you step into the business world, you have to understand how the Vietnamese are operating and how they are working. So of course you're always going to learn, because what might make sense to me and you is a foreign concept to them.
Of course.
And vice versa again. So yeah, you will always be learning out here. Don't ever think that you're the smartest person in the room, because you're probably not. And
Remember
don't think,
that, guys. Remember that,
and don't
guys.
think that you have all the answers, because you probably don't.
Fantastic.
You know, that's the
fantastic stuff.
some information that I can give you there.
Great advice there. How has the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, affected business for you, for the garden specifically? How exactly?
So this is quite a difficult question to answer, because I opened this restaurant 3 weeks before we went into the first major lockdown. So back then when I opened up this cafe, Corona was something that people spoke about, and it was a very new concept. For me, I hadn't actually known about this, because I was so engulfed in this property and getting it ready to open up on the 1st of March that I had no idea how serious the situation actually was. So when we opened up, we didn't really know what to expect. And the first few days was a bit quiet. And before we knew it, Friday nights during the week, we were quite busy. We were really, really busy. So in the beginning, COVID actually didn't feel like it affected anything. Most of us just felt like this is just another flu or another bullshit story that's just going to kind of blow over, and we will continue with our lives. We didn't realize that it was actually going to be a 2, possibly 3-year hold on our lives, businesses, and everything, you know. So in the beginning, I would say we were doing all right. Yeah, we were doing all right. But as things have gotten on over the past 2 years, and we've had more and more of these lockdowns or periods where we have to stop, it's definitely killed the market off, you know. I mean, Friday nights in this place, I could have 60 people having a great time.
Oh wow.
Now a Friday night, if I have 6 people having a great time, we're doing good, you know. So, and I mean, I don't want to paint a dim picture, but this is the reality of running a business like this during these times. You might get lucky, like during Tet, and you have a great run, but reality kicks in, and you know next week it's going to be dead quiet again, and you kind of just have to take what you've made and hold on, you know. So as it's gone on, it's definitely gotten a little bit more tough, just because even the expats that we rely on, they are no longer here, because the laws have changed for their visas. So our physical market has gotten a lot smaller. So unless we try and branch out and reach the Vietnamese market, it's pretty slim pickings at the moment. So we're hoping for the 15th of this month that everything is going to change and that the tourism is going to come back. Right. Yeah, it definitely had an effect, but I don't have any prior knowledge of the specific business before. I can't say, you know, 4 years ago we did this and this and this in January through to March, you know, because we weren't open just then. So yeah, second year of business definitely a little bit tougher than the first year of business for sure.
Wow, what a ride you are having in this business adventure. Wow. Yeah, definitely. You've given me a lot to think about if I ever want to start a business in Vietnam.
Maybe I should start a consulting company.
Yeah, you should start a consulting company. I guess this is a bit of a... I think it's something that you've touched on already, but maybe there may be something else that you want to add. But what, in this entrepreneurial journey that you've gone through so far, what lessons or what are the biggest things that you have learned other than what you've already mentioned? What else would you
like to pass on?
Share, or what would you like to pass on with to the people watching?
Yeah, this is quite a difficult question. I mean, you don't want to make any situation sound scary. I think if you wanted to come over to Vietnam and do something, just be smart. Just be careful in your planning. Be careful on who you share ideas to. You know, I know this may sound a little bit silly, but you know, you could meet someone that you don't really know, have a couple of beers at the bar. You don't know who this person is, you explain your idea, and a month later this person might have done it. You know, these things can happen out here. Yeah. Make sure you have enough money. And I think this is, people are like, oh, how do you know you have enough money? What I mean is, if you want to start a project like this, don't think, oh, I've got $3,000 or $4,000, it's enough. You always got to have money for in cases of emergency. Like our lockdowns, you know, we still paid our staff the first year round during lockdown. We were only able to do this because we made sure that there was a little bit left over in the bank to do so. So these little lessons will definitely help you, I think. Don't overspend. Don't think that if you have this amazing idea that you have to achieve it today. It can be a process. I mean, it can take you 2 years to build the property of your dreams if you really wanted to. I think a lot of people come in here, they throw a lot of money into a project and they open up their doors expecting to become millionaires overnight, and it doesn't work like that. 6 months later, their business could be closed because they went a little bit too heavy too quickly.
Right.
So my advice on that would be crawl before you walk, walk before you run kind of situation, you know. Do your market research, see what's missing in this area, see if your idea fits in, you know. Find your location. It doesn't have to be in the middle of the tourist area where you're paying ridiculous amounts of money. If you believe in what you're doing, you can do what we did. We went out of the tourist area and we've taken 2 years to build a name and a reputation. Now if I wanted to move back into the center of town, I feel like I would have a bigger following because the name's already established.
Right.
You see.
Right.
So little things like that will help your business actually go much further. Don't think that money will fix all your problems. Being hands-on, knowing how to run the business from the ground up, how every section works.
Right.
This is the success to your business, because if I didn't know how to fix electrical or fix furniture or paint a wall or build something, this place would have cost me 10 times more than what it actually did. So yeah, think about it, approach it, go into it step by step. Don't just think I have a lot of money and I'll make a lot of money. Do your homework.
Right. That's some good piece of business advice.
Yeah, just take it from a fool, you know.
Right. Nah. Okay, and any last messages maybe for people looking to go on the Vietnam advent, looking to come over to Vietnam when the borders open soon? I hear that they're opening. Being someone who has been in Vietnam as long as you have, what other than the wisdom that you've already imparted to everyone, what additionally can you?
Depends what you want out of Vietnam, right? So if you are coming here on holiday and you want to do the tourism thing, go for it. Vietnam is one of the most amazing places I've ever been. It is extremely beautiful, it's very diverse, and it's relatively easy to get around, explore, and do what you want to do. If you are coming here for business, if you are wanting to come here and start a life like I have and create something, do your homework, do your research, make sure you've got the fundamentals taken care of. Make sure that your visas, your work permits, your business license, your tax number, important things are taken care of before you worry about facial things like having a premises and furniture and that, because that will go much further in your career and future in Vietnam than thinking you can rock up here and wing it. It's not 2012 anymore. Vietnam is now becoming and fast becoming a first world country, and you have to understand that if you want to be a part of it, you have to conform to certain things. So make sure you get your visas and paperwork sorted out. This is definitely going to help you for sure. Don't be scared. Come on over. Enjoy Vietnam, man. Like, this place is truly amazing. And even if it's not Vietnam, if you're in South Africa and you just want to go out and you're a bit nervous and scared, I was once that person too. Bite the bullet.
Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and Ashe, thank you so much to you.
Okay. That's running a business right there.
Yeah, that is running that is running a business actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you
I
for
really
having
appreciate
me.
it. I mean, being someone, I've only been in Vietnam, as you know, as you may or may not know, I've only been in Vietnam for about 2 years now.
Alright.
And just listening to you talk about your experience and things just to beware of in Vietnam,
Yeah.
I've also learned a lot just listening to you, and
glad.
the viewers probably also
For
learned
sure.
quite a bit of valuable knowledge about Vietnam, and yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, like, just to touch on that again, I mean, some of the things I say may sound a little bit scary, but remember guys, I've been out here for 10 years and I have been through a lot. So the things I'm sharing with you is just to try and help you, that if you want to come over, you need to understand that it is wonderful, it is magical, but it is real life as well. So you might run into 1 or 2 complications. So again, if you want to come on over, do so, but just do your homework. Make sure you chat to a reputable company about visas, work permits and that sort of thing, and your time out here will be amazing, you know, absolutely amazing, for sure.
Fantastic, man. Thank you so much.
worries,
And
buddy.
guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Kuselo Achoa. And yeah, see you next time. Ash,
Sweet guys.
thanks again.
No worries.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers guys.
Okay.